This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNN Live on location in New York City. With me is Dr. James Menuso, Cortex Pharmaceuticals, Inc., publicly traded company, CORX, on the OTC markets. James, welcome to SNN Live.
Thank you very much for having me, Shelley.
It's good to have you. Dr. Menuso, tell us about the company.
Cortex is a company focused exclusively on breathing disorders, specifically on sleep apneas, of which there are 3 kinds, and also on opiate-induced respiratory depression. And these are conditions which are ubiquitous, life-threatening, and for which there are no approved pharmaceuticals today.
So what's in the pipeline?
In the pipeline presently, and the lead is a drug called dronabinol, and it is in a phase 2B clinical trial with 120 patients, and we're testing it for obstructive sleep apnea, and we expect to have results from this trial, which hopefully we can bring to the FDA for breakthrough designation in the 3rd quarter of 2016. That's our lead medicine at this time.
Where's it from?
Well, the company was put together by combining a private company called Peer Pharmaceuticals out of Chicago and Cortex, a company that has actually been around for some time, focused on a variety of neuroscience-based pharmaceuticals. These 2 companies were combined. We brought in new management, new money, a new strategy, and refocused the company on the breathing disorders that I spoke of earlier.
It's major, this sleeping disorder market. I mean, we can't take this lightly. Let's talk about that for a minute. How big is this market?
We believe that at least 18 million people in the United States suffer from what could be life-threatening sleep apneas. This is a very substantial market, therefore, and unfortunately for some people, especially heart failure patients, sleep apneas can be deadly.
How's it treated now?
Presently, people use what's referred to as a CPAP device. This is a device that is placed over the nose and mouth, and it serves as a splint to open up the air pathway. And unfortunately, many people who are diagnosed with sleep apnea and get the device fail to use it at all, or fail to use it properly. So unfortunately, it remains a condition that is not well treated.
So let's get into the drug a little bit. Let's start to analyze how it works. Dramamol, is it? Did I get it right?
Dronabinol.
Dronabinol. That's not an easy one, but I was close.
Yes.
Tell us more about dronabinol.
Dronabinol is a drug that is based on tetrahydrocannabinol. It's a synthetic thereof. And the pathway appears to be based on a serotonin set of cells that unfortunately relax the throat muscles so much so that at night they close. And dronabinol works on the cannabinoid receptors in order to offset this relaxation effect of the serotonin and therefore open up the pathways.
This sounds obviously earth-shattering, but it differentiates itself in the market from anything else I've heard before.
As I said, unfortunately, there is not a single pharmaceutical that is approved for sleep apneas today. There is the CPAP device, there are surgical interventions, there are teeth reconstructions, there are a variety of interventions that unfortunately don't work. And therefore, so many people are suffering from a disease that we believe should be treated with pharmaceuticals on a much more simple basis.
Now, what's your background?
I have a doctorate in physiology and genetics and an MBA in finance, and originally worked as officer in charge of healthcare planning and development for the Equitable companies, then actually did some real estate deals here in New York City, and then went into the biotech industry, and I've been a serial entrepreneur in that regard.
So which company would I know was yours at one time?
Well, you might be familiar with a company called Zystor Pharmaceuticals. We developed a drug for Pompe's disease, which is presently in phase 3 clinical trials at a company called BioMarin. And then you might also be familiar with a company called Aztex, ASTX, on the NASDAQ, a company which I ran for 12 years and subsequently sold for $900 million to Otsuka Pharmaceuticals. It's an anti-cancer company.
So from this point on, let's talk about where the company goes. Tell me what's next. Roll it out a little bit, finish off 2015, and let's go into 2016.
Thank you. Well, our primary goal over the course of the remaining year is to assure that our phase 2 ready drugs are prepared to move into phase 2 trials and to advance further a phase 2A drug for the ampakines, which is intended for central sleep apnea, which is actually a different disease from obstructive sleep apnea. It's mediated more in the brain, and our intention there is to rapidly move this drug into the central sleep apnea arena. And then we expect next year, as a result of 4 phase 2 or phase 2 ready trials, to have readouts on 4 of our programs. So 2016 is going to be a very exciting year for us.
So, Doc, let me ask you a personal question. With your vast experience and your accomplishments, what was it about a sleep apnea company that jumped out at you that made you get involved in general?
A number of reasons. I think first and foremost, you have to appreciate the size of the marketplace and the fact that it's a completely unserved marketplace. There are so many millions of people worldwide that suffer from these breathing disorders, and breath is life itself, isn't it? And by that I mean when we're born, we inspire. When we die, we expire. And in between, if we don't breathe, it's all over. So main point is that it was a fascinating marketplace and a great opportunity from a pharmaceutical company perspective. But beyond that, I was looking for a company in which I could invest personally, which would potentially be a turnaround, and that is very much the case in this instance. And I was looking for a group of people with whom I could work, who I respect, and could have some fun and help patients and make some money for shareholders. So lots of different reasons.
So you're smart and lucky.
Lucky, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a website here for you to go visit.
Thank you. Please take a look at our website. It's CortexPharm, PHARM.com, and welcome your observations.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. James Menuso, Cortex Pharmaceuticals, Inc. It's a publicly traded company, CORX, on the OTC markets. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN Live, coming to you on location in New York City.
Thank you
Dr.
very much,
Menuso,
Shelley,
thank you
for having me. Thank you.